the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton, we had everything.
Previous accounts stated Clinton flew with Epstein on his private jet 11 times. A jet accusers say was equipped for sex with underage victims and was used to travel to Epstein's private island, nicknamed Orgy Island. Newly obtained documents show Clinton actually took at least 26 flights on Epstein's private jet to spots around the globe, though apparently not after Epstein's plea deal and jail time.
And then Alan Dershowitz was also implicated in it because of the planes. She told me everything.
I've seen hundreds and hundreds of girls go through Jeffrey's swinging door, his ever-revolving door.
Did you ever see Mr. Epstein with underage girls?
No. Oh, no. If I had ever seen Jeffrey Epstein in any inappropriate situation with an underage girl, I would have terminated my relationship and turned him in. No way.
So you're obviously surprised by the allegations.
We were shocked by the allegations, but as a criminal lawyer, being shocked by an allegation doesn't mean that I won't defend somebody.
What we had was unreal.
All Jeffrey cared about was go find me more girls. His appetite was insatiable. He couldn't stop. He wanted new, fresh, young faces every single day.
Everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out.
It ended with sexual abuse and intercourse, and then a pat on the back. You've done a really good job. Like, you know, thank you very much, and here's $200. You know, before you know it, I'm being lent out to politicians and to academics and to people that royalty and people that you would never think, like, how did you get into that position of power in the first place if you're this disgusting, evil, decrepit person on the inside?
Other women backing it up. Hey, yep.
Flipped over. That's when he said, okay, you can go ahead and take off your shirt and pants, but you can stay in your underwear.
He would want us to stand next to him, and he would masturbate while he stared at us, touched us.
To pull his nipples and to play with them in between his fingers, and also while I was playing with his nipples, he kept doing that stuff to me. But he was very aggressive, like, when he would do it.
And then he tried to put his finger in my underwear, and I, like, jumped back, and I pulled back, and I was like, whoa.
Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways.
And the very fact that the palace decided to release a statement at all just shows you how seriously they're now taking this situation, and here's why. It was in response to this video allegedly showing Prince Andrew waving goodbye to a young woman at Epstein's Manhattan mansion, purportedly shot in 2010 and taken less than an hour after Epstein left the house with another young woman. The prince even appears to check that no one was looking.
Yes, I do. Because he made his whole living blackmailing people. Yeah. There were a lot of men in those planes, a lot of men who visited that island, a lot of powerful men who came into that apartment.
So if the speculation is true, and Epstein's real business was running, one of his businesses was running an elaborate blackmail scheme against the powerful, then there are likely to be tapes and implicating documents. And there's already been hints that there are tapes.
Well,
videotapes.
Look, I mean, you've got Prince Andrew at his home with young girls coming out, and Prince Andrew, you know, saying goodbye to them. I think you have it right there on tape. That's, I think, Virginia Roberts, or I think it is. But what you also have are individuals who are alleged to be procurers, people who were housekeepers. There are all kinds of people who will be named in this.
He's got to have left evidence. Unexplained. Well, Ghislaine Maxwell, who I had all sorts of stuff on her too. I love it. I'm like, it's so funny to hear everyone say her name now, because I'm like, oh my God, like, I had all this, and everyone was like, who's that? Who cares? I kept getting that. Who cares? She knows everything.
But the accusations go back to at least 2001, and this picture showing Prince Andrew with alleged victim Virginia Giuffre, who's only 15 at the time, and British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell. She says Maxwell acted as a madam, passing her around.
She knows everything. She knows. She should be careful. Well, she was his, like, she went out and recruited all of these girls. Stand by. She should watch her back. Because if she goes, I mean, I'd have like security guards all around me.
Really disappointing to look, as a lawyer, to look at this circumstance and say, how did this happen? One individual commits one abuse of a minor, in one instance of abuse of a minor, and they're held accountable for years and years through the criminal justice system. This individual abused hundreds of girls, and nothing happened. It's really, really unfortunate. We look at that and we say, how did the criminal justice system fail these girls in such a significant way? How has that happened?
Thank you all for turning out and putting some limelight on this horrid discussion that we've had to deal with for the last 2 decades nearly. I want to start by saying it's not how Jeffrey died, but it's how he lived. And we need to get to the bottom of everybody who was involved with that, starting with Ghislaine Maxwell and going along the lines there. I was recruited at a very young age from Mar-a-Lago and entrapped in a world that I didn't understand, and I've been fighting that very world to this day, and I won't stop fighting. I will never be silenced until these people are brought to justice. So thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
What do you make of Prince Andrew's denial? Can you comment on that? You said you won't be silenced. He has been outspoken.
He knows what he's done, and he can attest to that. So
Can you repeat that? We can't hear you. Step up.
he knows exactly what he's done, and I hope he comes clean about it. Thank you.
When I heard he was found dead, someone was like, I knew immediately. And they made it seem as though he made that suicide attempt 2 weeks earlier, but his lawyers claimed that he was roughed up by his cellmate around the neck. That was all like to plant the seed, and then that's why I really believe it, like really believe it.
3 fractures of the thyroid cartilages and the hyoid bone, which are unusual in hanging suicides.
Epstein was awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking charges involving underage girls. The 66-year-old had been placed on suicide watch on July 23rd, then taken off 6 days later. The night of his death, he wasn't checked on for several hours.
Occasionally there'll be a guard who falls asleep and who fudges that he was awake, as happened here. But never 2 guards at the same time. I mean, that's the chances of that happening is like winning the lottery or something.